Incidentally, you're not against a Premier League match being played abroad, are you, Stuart?
I'm against a 39th game, but I'm in favour of a 38th game.
Expand on that.
Well, I wouldn't want the extra game.
You don't want an extra game.
But
within the calendar,
would be
okay.
If you want to take one to neutral ground somewhere, this, by the way, this is all the teams of the world. You look where they've been this year.
Tell
pre-season.
me how you do that. Then. How are we going to do that?
You just take a fixture out the calendar, whichever one it may be.
Simple
enough.
Spurs,
Arsenal.
Yeah, and go and play in the States.
Yeah, but there'd be civil war if you try and take Spurs Arsenal to New York, for example. They wouldn't have it. And it's got to be a glamour game, Stuart, wouldn't it? It would need to be one that you're, my God, they'll go to that in San Francisco.
That's why I'm not in favour of a 39th game. But if you want to take one of the games out the calendar or a couple each season to spread the word. Listen, all our teams go to America, Australia, the Far East pre-season to spread the word of the Premier League and endorse the financial incomings of the football club.
Sure, but say you play Chelsea, West Ham and Los Angeles.
Yeah.
The fans will go crazy. They want it played here.
Yeah,
I mean, the argument, obviously, it stacks up against it happening, doesn't it?
I'll go back to the same point. Unless we try some of these things, we don't know whether they'll work or not.
I'm with you on that.
You know, there's a Qatari World Cup mid-season, and everyone's going, it's a disaster, it won't work. Well, what evidence are you basing your statements on? None at all. We've never done the tournament before. Why don't you trial it? And see if it works, and see. Some of the fans might say, you know what, I'm going to utilise it as a holiday and go to New York.
Stuart takes us beautifully to it. On the back page of the Times today, Matt Dickinson, a Premier League 11 could face the best players from Germany, Spain and other top leagues because plans are afoot and chief execs are talking about it, Martin, for all-star games to be set to be revived and matches potentially staged around the world as a means of growing global audiences. So you would have the best of the Premier League playing the best of the Bundesliga.
Oh, it sounds lovely. It sounds lovely, doesn't it? But where do we fit that in? Great for the people, for the money men. And it's interesting because Simon Jordan's not here now today. By the way, if he'd have said that, what you've just said, I'd have gone crazy because I would have just said it's not going to work, Stu, because it would just distort the Premier League. Okay, but let's go back to the All-Star game again, Jim. We're looking at trying to reduce the number of games, the number of hours between games, players.
But people are bored with this reducing the number of games. I mean,
you're bored with it.
Players want to play.
Hold on, Jim.
Players want to play.
You're bored with it.
No, this is your agenda.
I'm not. It's not my agenda. I don't create the agenda. The producer does that every week. You respond to that. So do I.
Not at all.
I'm saying that the players
in that chair on a Monday and says all players want to do is play.
He can say what he wants. He can say what he wants on a Monday. Here we're on a Friday, I'm saying that we need to be careful the number of games the players are playing. All the statistics are telling us that we're getting more injuries now than we ever before.
So how many games
Why do you
is
think
too
that
many
happens,
games?
Jim?
How many games is too many games?
I just feel we need to have a number of hours between the games, maybe 67 hours or something between the games. Look at Klopp last year going berserk because the early kickoff was saying it was restrictive for his players. Play on a Wednesday night in Europe.
These clubs are big
but you're
squads.
playing in Europe on a Wednesday night. You're coming back. You want to be competitive on a Saturday morning. So that's now changed. I think that's intelligent. And I think that players want to play in every game, Jim, but you're making it impossible for them because they're getting injured. So you have to reduce the number of hours between games.
But Stuart's just told us the West Ham squad last season wasn't the biggest by any stretch of imagination, and you hardly had any injuries.
That's almost unique.
That was our game in isolation, maybe. I don't know. But
that's a fair comment, and that's unique, right? But I think it's linked to the way that West Ham play. They don't play the high-intensity game. I watch West Ham regularly and think, go on, David Moyes, send your team in after them. No, he doesn't. They sit. They contain. They sit in their own half. They don't go and work the ball and press.
Is that fair? Is that how you played?
We're good at counter-attack, or we were good at counter-attack, granted. But then again, if you're a central defender playing for Manchester City, all you've got to do is pass the ball sideways and get a rest every 20 minutes while your attackers attempt to put the ball in the back of the opposition's net.
So they've got plenty of gas in the tank, haven't they?
Well, you say that, but how many centre-halves have they lost this season? Diaz is out, Stones is out. It's like Laporte's been injured, it's hardly played. So they're doing something, aren't they? How are they getting injured then?
So where is your argument, Martin? There are too many games, or is the game being played too intensely?
No, there's too many games, Jim, to play the intensity that they want to play. So you have to reduce the number of games that they're playing. So you're asking for an all-star game, which is yet another game, another fixture.
He's not here now, but Mr. Jordan would say you can't have your cake and eat it.
I'm not really bothered what Simon Jordan is saying. He's not even here. Stuart's here. I'm talking to Stuart. But going back to the 38th game being moved somewhere else, and we can't simply do that because it distorts the Premier League. You know, if we're suddenly taking the London Derby game, we won't be a home game anymore, will it, for Arsenal?
But there
It'll
are
be
new kids
played
in the
Las
block,
Vegas.
though, Martin. You can sense it. Changes in the air. Todd Bowley's arrived. Now, I'm not saying he's the font of all knowledge. He's only just in the scene. But you can see the ideas that are being floated in. So we've gone from a north-south game, Stuart, to the possibility of this all-star Premier League side playing the all-star Bundesliga side. And chief execs, we are assured, are talking about it.
Yeah, listen, for me, I don't think the season's overloaded. Not with the size of squads that teams have got, not with the education that they've got, not with the rehab they've got. All of that's in place now. I'm not so sure. I take Martin's point about the duration between games. Really critical, that is. I think that's a really good point in regard to some of the games.
A minimum number of hours.
And you look at some of the kickoffs as well for the TV. Last year and the year before, when I was working in a club, you look and you thought, why have they put Liverpool on 12:30 on a whatever when they've been away in Europe? Yeah, when they've been away in Europe and whatever. Sometimes I think the TV have got to give a little bit of wriggle room and put maybe a lesser game on, and I understand the finances there, just to give it, and we'll say, I'll tell you what.
But that was the package that they bought into.
But did I say the broadcasters pay the players' wages?
Well, they certainly contribute towards it.
Massively.
Yeah, but it's the Premier League that set the timescale for that game and that package, and and BT bought that package because it was available to buy. They didn't set the time for it.
So what do you want to do? Do you want to turn round and say we need to look after the players, or do you want to say we need to look after the TV and the money people? That is the question. If you're going to prioritise one or the other, if it's the players, then do so. Now, from a playing point of view, I would turn round and say, fine, we're happy to play the games. We're happy to play 2 a week.
Yeah.
Or 3 a week, whichever way you look at it. But have a bit of common sense. Don't do us a Sunday.
He's not here, but what would Clough be saying about it?
Well, there will be a comment one way or the other. You know, that is for sure. But don't give us a game on a Sunday, a game on a Wednesday, and a game early kick-off on the Saturday. That is just common sense, because we're going back to Martin's point. Don't cram it in on the hours, because that's where injuries will occur.
Okay, all right.
And one more point before I go. I've heard managers bemoaning about the amount of games their players play. And Harry Kane and various other players have been on the pitch when their team have been 5-0 up and they played a full 90-odd minutes. Now, if you're really, really concerned, make a change and look after your better ones.
Great points this morning. We're coming up to 11.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.